Did you come up with some good ideas? Where you're going to appoint the angels to work with you? Anyone like to share? Okay. All right, some things are personal, that's fine. All right.
It wasn't so personal.
Speak up so everyone can hear. I'm sorry I don't have a microphone. But... Oh, I do?
Yeah.
No, but
But it's okay, it's just,
Okay.
it's okay.
Maybe for me it's good.
Viveka, vad fin i håret du.
Hallå? 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 Nej, jag sa just till min partner, Jan Peter, som är min partner.
It's in English so I can...
Ah, sorry. Yeah, at home we always talk English, so I just mix up. I spoke to my partner for the day here, Jan Peter, that it's very important to be connected with the latest news, especially within our movement right now, like after Madison Square Garden. And the one who brought, or the ones, I should say, who was leading to give this success for Madison Square Garden, who was that? Michael Balkan and his wife Fumiko. So they are now the European leaders since just a few weeks. And I listened, was it yesterday morning, to Mike Balkan's speech that he gave, one of his very first speeches in Europe. He gave it in UK, in Cleeve House at the annual gathering. So all the members from Britain was there. I took some notes and I just started to share them a little bit with Jan Peter, who's our educational department leader. But generally very, very positive, very optimistic, and that's what we need to be, I feel, to be able to generate more power for changes, together with the angels that we learned from Claire here. And Claire actually was attending the Summa ceremony that we did not far from Cleeve House on the farm, the Holy Oak, where Godwin was buried. And I was there a month ago. And then I was still scratching my head and wondered, who was that lady who was there? She had white hair and I couldn't, for my word, I've always looked for her. And here she was! Bringing abundant angels to all of us. So that's all I want to share, really. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to share what you're going to... come on, Tim. We've got lots of cord here. You can just come up to the front. What are the angels going to do with you?
Well, you know, I have this dream, and you know, I like acting. So I like acting. I love theatre. I want to create a kind of a drama group to take stories which have some uplifting stories, and to inspire people, entertain people. Because this is my love, drama, my theatre, I have it in my bones. And I feel I want to do it, so by speaking it here, because I've been thinking about it, I want to start a drama group that can really inspire people, and not just for people here, but anybody. Because you know, this is who I am. It's in my bones, and I have to let it, what's the word? Kind of explode. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
All right, let's give all of our speakers a round of applause. We can hold each other accountable this way. All right, who's next? Who wants to share what they're going to do? What are the angels going to do with you? What are you going to appoint them? What's the job you're assigning your angels? Come on, folks. You had plenty to say in the group. Shall we say? Inspire us.
No, I didn't understand what we are supposed to do.
You are supposed to share with your partner
Yes.
what you want to give the angels, the job you're going to appoint them to do. Where are you going to ask for their assistance? So, come on, take the mic.
Oh, I don't know.
I think I wish something that everybody wants. Money. Money from the first of the month to the end of the month.
Well, I'm happy today is only the 2nd. I'm glad I didn't come on the 31st. Hopefully everybody's still got some. All right, would you let anybody else want to share? We need money. So open to, the money doesn't always have to come from your job or your allotment or whatever. It can come in many different ways. Be open to see it, hiding under the table and coming from unconventional ways. Please come get the mic. We all want to hear you.
Do I really need the mic?
No. As long as we can hear you.
I can testify to something. Maybe I have to ask the angels where I'm supposed to go now. I don't know really. But I can testify. You said something before we took the break about making things more substantial. So this is a little bit more than 10 years ago. And through my job, I got this coaching course. It's about a leadership course, but actually it was the content was that you can be a leader in your field. It doesn't mean that you have a lot of people under you, but you're sort of an authority in your area. And one assignment I got from this coach, and actually I couldn't succeed in the course, so that was a failure. But I got something really good out of it. I think it was the second time we met. She said, "Till next time, I want you to think about 3 goals that you have." I don't know what it was I come up with. So at that time, we were living in quite a small apartment, actually in the same area where some other families were living. My car was junk, honestly speaking, barely holding it together. And we were thinking about sending our oldest daughter to Korea to golf for a year. And I couldn't see how can I get these things together. But I said that. I said that to her, and feeling a little bit stupid, but I said that. And literally it was something started rolling at that time. The first thing I got was a new car. It was really nice. I had my one brother in the church help me, and I went to pick it up in the north of Sweden. And already at that time I felt, because my train was delayed for 2 hours or something. So I got the money back for the ticket. So I didn't pay anything to go up and pick it up. Of course I paid for the car. It came back, it was a really nice car. And then I was thinking, how can I get this thing together? I need the money for the Hulda's trip. And we really can't stay 6 people in this tiny apartment. How am I going to do? I have to choose one of these things. I can't put it together. Then I realized, well, why don't you sell the apartment, move out of Stockholm, and then you can do both things. And that's exactly what happened. It's a long story. I'm not going to bore you with the details. But I think the key thing is really this, that you have these desires and wishes, and they're all in your head. It doesn't come out. And once you start to speak, you say something, it becomes more substantial. And write it down. That's very, very good. And think about this thing, and take out this piece of paper and look at it. And prepare mentally, because that's how things start to move forward. And that's the most substantial example, but I felt that I've tried to somehow, I know this principle works, but I don't do it often enough.
Yeah, I think we're all guilty of that. Thank you. Couple of exercises I'd like to share with you to help bring your desires into substance. One is called a vision board. Has anyone ever, I know we discussed it yesterday. Have you heard of a vision board? Okay, they're lots of fun. I did them with my grandchildren one time, but they say it's good to do it on the full moon or the new moon, which is increasing. You get a big piece of cardboard or foam board or whatever, and maybe a stack of magazines and some scissors and glue, and just look through the pictures, whatever appeals to you. You can either have a very clear idea and put those goals in visual format on your board, or you can just put anything you think looks like fun. And I wanted to take my granddaughter to Paris. I was in Paris as a young person before I joined the church, and it was a very special time of my life. And I was an au pair girl, and I became very close to the family that I worked for, and they're close friends to this day. It's almost 50 years. I just visited them in December. And we joke, because every time I'm going now, as we're both getting on in years, I said, well, this is probably my last trip. I think I've had 3 last trips already. There's probably a few more coming, but because of our age, you never know. It could be the last trip. So I put the Eiffel Tower, and I put my granddaughter's middle school graduation picture there, and I put Grandma and Talani in Paris. And then my son was getting blessed in marriage, And I wanted to go to his blessing in the Dominican Republic, but I really didn't see how it was going to happen. But I put beautiful Caribbean beach scenes, and I got some of the Unification magazines and put a blessing scene, and I just put all kinds of things on there. Just fantasies. Oh, I would love this, I would love that. And I looked at the vision board a year later, and it had been completed. My little granddaughter, the youngest one, she put 13 cats on her board. I want a cat, please, please, please. The children had been asking for a cat forever. Within 2 weeks, she had a cat. I think her parents saw, this is so important to her, that the whole vision board was dominated by cats, and even her older sister had several cats on her. So they live in a very old house, and they had a mouse problem, and they got a super duper mouser. So the cat has definitely earned his keep, and everybody's happy. They have a cat, they don't have to walk him, he takes care of himself, he's an indoor cat, and no more mice. So vision boards are a lot of fun. In fact, I would suggest it's a great activity to invite people to. Have everybody bring their old magazines. It's a great way to get rid of them. Have a basket. Everyone can throw their old magazines in. And on a Saturday afternoon, put out flyers and invite your neighbors, anyone, your friends, your neighbors, and have a workshop here. And everybody gets to do a vision board. And then you take them home, and you can put it somewhere where you'll see it, or you can roll it up with a rubber band. That's what I did, and I couldn't find it. I thought, no, I didn't throw it away. And when I found it, I had forgotten many of the things that I put on there. But we can manifest. This is how God created the universe. He manifested it into physical form. And he saw that it was good. We can manifest whatever we want. We really can. So the more we do it, the more we realize, wow, I really can do this. And when you say it, you create accountability. So Tim, I'm looking forward to your new drama group. Please invite me,
Yes.
and I'll find out how I'm coming. I travel all over the world, and if you were to look at our tax return, you would say, that's impossible. We're on the low end of the sliding scale. We're sliding right off the end. But I live like a rich person. It's amazing. I drive a Mercedes. I won't tell you how old it is, but it still runs. We got it secondhand, and I have a great mechanic who just keeps healing it miraculously. Every time it looks like it's reached the end of its life, he brings it, resurrects it again, and sometimes he doesn't even charge me. Wonderful, wonderful young man that just loves us. I live in a huge house that I got for, the house is now probably worth about $300,000, which for the town that I live in is above the median. It's got 6 bedrooms, 3 stories, and it's right on the waterfront. It's on the river. We paid, now this house is worth $300,000. We paid $12,700. We bought it for back taxes. We were already living in it. The landlord died, and we originally rented this house for a church center. And it hadn't been a church center in years, but my family lived there. It's a beautiful old house. It's over 100 years old, and God just worked it out. I won't go into all the details, but we own the house, and it needed a lot of repair, and our credit was not good. In America, your credit is everything. We didn't have any. Ours was in tatters and shreds. So we couldn't borrow money. Even though we owned the house, we were trying to get a mortgage to do the repairs. Well, finally, after 3 rejections, and people said, what, are you kidding? They won't give you a mortgage? You own the place. It has no debt. I said, all right, Heavenly Father, I know you want to fix this house. I know this house was a gift. If I can't borrow money, I keep saying, I have a husband. If we can't borrow the money, somebody's going to give it to us. And I just made a decision. I'm going to find a grant out there. And I started speaking. I'm going to get a grant to fix my house. You all know what a grant is? It's free money given either by the government or a private foundation. It's money that you don't have to pay back. It's just a gift. I said, I'll get a grant. This is a historic old house. It needs to be saved. And then a friend of mine heard that, and she said, oh, you need to talk to so-and-so in the city hall. So I called so-and-so. She said, well, I can't help you, but call this department. Fast forward, we got $40,000, which was partially a grant. We never have to pay it back. And part of it was a loan, 0 interest, 0 payments. And as long as we lived in the house and didn't take more equity out, borrow more money against the house, we didn't have to make any payments. So we lived in it. We did a massive renovation, new roof, new heating, upgraded the wiring, put in a new bathroom, and now the house is working for us. Our children are all grown. We have 6 bedrooms. It's just my husband and myself and a little dog. We rent the rooms out to students. So the house is making money for us. So think out of the box. Don't say, all right, this is my income. I have to, well, you can get other income. I was joking with my husband once. We were really out of money, and I was just, all the pots were empty. And I said, don't worry, the check is in the mail. This is a joke, because when the bill collector calls you and said, you know, you're behind on your payment, you say, oh, the check is in the mail. I've already paid. So I said to my husband, don't worry, the check is in the mail. And I went out and got the mail. I said, what's a check in the mail? I said, well, what is, there was a letter of apology and saying, I'm so sorry it took me so long to send this to you. It was $120. And I thought, this guy doesn't owe me any money. What's this from? And he said, you spoke at our church 3 months ago and I never gave you an honorarium. Oh, I wasn't expecting to get anything from them. Usually our church is not very good in the honorarium department. And it was like out of the clear blue sky. And there it was. So I thought, okay, try this again. Think out of the box. Think in unusual ways. Remember who you are. You are a providential person. In the divine principle, we talk about the providential eye. Every person sitting in this room, you are God's delegate. So he has given you a team to work with you. He knows that you need to get from the first to the last of the month. Now, on this note, I will tell you one thing. I am a fanatic about tithing, and I'm so happy to hear your friend is too. This is why he will just never be able to give all his money away. He'll just keep multiplying and multiplying. Give 10%. It's in the book of Malachi. If I don't have my Bible with me, but in the book of Malachi, the last chapter of the last book of the Old Testament, God says to his people, the Israelites, he said, you are robbing me. And they say, how do we rob you? You're not giving me my tithe. Tithing is a very powerful spiritual discipline. Give 10%. Even if it means there's not enough left for groceries. Someone will knock on your door with a basket saying, oh, we're going on holiday for a month. Can we give you our groceries? They'll spoil if we leave them behind. God will make sure that you have enough to eat. God will make sure that your lights are on. Sometimes my lights went off. We have a large family, and we lived by selling roses for many years. That was our only income. My husband was a city leader, and we put most of our time into doing spiritual work and ran out on the weekends to make money. So sometimes the lights would go off, and I just tell the child, oh, don't worry, they'll be on tomorrow or the next day. And they always were. So my son is now living in the Dominican Republic, and he and his wife were out of money. And he's saying, oh, don't worry, it's, you know, the tide is coming in again. And she was in a panic, and she said, why aren't you worried? Why aren't you concerned? You're not taking this seriously. He said, look, God's got our back. My mother always said, don't worry, they'll be on tomorrow. And he said, and they always were. But I've always tithed. I really believe in tithing. I cannot tell you how important it is. Tithe to your local church. Give 10%. I don't have anything to do, but you can visualize. My husband would take 10 items. He used to use matchsticks, and he said, this is all that God asks. All right, this one's for you, 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 and this one's for you. This one's for you, and this one's for you, and this one's for you, and this one's for me. And I asked the kids, is that a good deal? Yeah, that's a good deal. He's only asking for 1/10. You get to keep 9/10. But I promise you that that 10th that you give to the providence of God, it's like a seed. It's like planting a money tree. We were listening to a televangelist, Pat Robertson. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he was telling people to send him their tithes, and my husband said, this guy's a crook. And he said, if you don't have enough money, give more. And he's going to turn, I said, no, I want to hear what he's saying. He said, you need anticipatory tithing. Donate on what you need to have as if it's already there. I said, this is brilliant. And I upped my tithe, I think, to 11%. I just went a little bit more, which was a big stretch, actually. And sure enough, doors open and new opportunities come. Maybe it's a new client if you've got your own business or a job promotion, but the universe keeps very exact records. So don't be afraid to give. Generosity is the key to prosperity. Give freely and you make space for more to come in. You know, if you've got your hand closed, you're holding on fearfully to what you have, you can't receive anymore. But if you have an open hand and just give freely, more will come. You create a space, and it will keep growing. This is not, I don't know if we have any economists in here, this is spiritual economics, but it's biblical. It's in the book of Malachi. During the lunch break, I will look and give you the exact verse. He said, try me in this, and see if I will not open the storehouse of heaven and pour down my blessing upon you abundantly, so that you won't have room to hold it. So it's important that we support God's providence, and the providence will support us. This I know from experience. And as I said, if you looked at my tax return, you'd say, man, you're really poor. But as I said, I drive a Mercedes. My rent on my business is current. You know, here I am taking a tour of the world. I'm literally going around the world. I went from London to Germany, through Scandinavia, on to Korea, with a stop in China. You know, I live like a rich person. I don't have ready access, to personal money, but it always shows up. It always shows up. When I declare I'm going to do something, it's like the Red Sea's parted, God makes a way. So believe it's out there, and then be open to crazy ways for it to come. Like the check is in the mail, don't worry. And believe me, it will come. I think this is probably a good time to take our lunch break. We're getting down to the wire. I do want to finish at 1:30. We have one very important activity remaining. This is the dessert is coming. The best one is coming for last. I saved it. And I won't tell you. I'll let you just anticipate. So please get your lunch out, and let's, if you need to use the toilet, let's keep it moving quickly. And we will come back from lunch just before, about 8 after. Okay?